Welcome back, you guys. Welcome back to my channel. If you are coming from my Bible book tag, comment down below and let me know that you watched that one first and you found me here. So, if not, I am so blessed that you're here. Thank you for following me, for watching, for doing all the things. I am glad you're part of my family. So, this one, as you can read from the title, it's one that has been in the making for a while. And I believe it just being off this week from YouTube and all my socials, I feel like the Lord was just like orchestrating, what I need to do as far as this video. So like I mentioned in my Bible book tag, my friend and sister in Christ, Alex from Alexandria Hurley, that's her YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. I will definitely post her down below, like I always say. She posted her testimony, and it was so amazing to hear, like the faith and the strength that she had, even going through what she was going through, and the outcome and the overcoming that she endured. Like, it's so good to know there's people out there that are willing to share their struggles, but their blessings that the Lord has placed in their lives, and being an inspiration as far as walking with the Lord and stuff. So I am so blessed to call her a friend. I met her through the book community, and just so grateful to the Lord for placing her in my life. I always say that I see her as a little sister, and I'm just like so inspired and proud of knowing that she is a sister in Christ, but she also loves books. So I have my coffee here, my little cinnamon floating in there. I don't want this to be super long. It might do it in 2 parts. So this first part, because I don't want, you just watched my my Bible booktube, and that was ridiculous. It took me forever, and I was just yapping at the gums the whole time. So if you didn't see it, go watch that and come back, or watch it after this. So where do I start? Like, for some reason I'm kind of nervous, but at the same time I believe that being nervous is also a blessing, because that it's the Lord like wanting you to do something, but Satan's in the background like, you really gonna do this? You can't do this. Why are you gonna do that? You're here because of me, blah blah blah. But he's also a liar, so we're gonna disregard him. So I was a product of teenage love affair. I don't know how to explain it. My mom was 16, my dad was 15, and they had me. So I'm here. My grandfather was a pastor, and my mother was just a rebellious teenager, which I'm sure a lot of us have been. I know I was. And she wanted to do what she wanted to do, so she got pregnant, had me. She decided she wanted to do what she wanted to do all by herself, so she left me with my grandparents, which at first and for a long time I had hatred. You guys, I'm gonna try not to cry, because and we got time for that. But there's also emotion that goes with testimonies, and a lot of times there's victories, and who knows. But she left me with my grandparents. I was raised Apostolic Pentecostal, so I had a very strict upbringing. as a teen, growing up, pretty much, I could not do a lot of things that my friends were doing. I couldn't wear pants, I couldn't wear jewelry, I couldn't wear makeup, I couldn't cut my hair, it was even like crazy to even get my hair braided. There was people looking at me like, what is she doing? Because it says in the Bible not to braid your hair. Okay. So, growing up, my uncle became the pastor, and I was still under him. All I've known is church. Like, from a small age, I was at the Bible studies, I was at the youth functions, I was like on the praise team. I dabbled in Sunday school, like teaching and stuff. Something did happen as a teen that, like in church, that wrecked me. And from then on, I was like, I can't trust people, so let's just not. And a lot of people that were supposed to be on my side were not, and looked at me differently. And yeah, we're not gonna get into all that, like I said, so let's scoot on. I ended up meeting my husband. He was the brother of one of the ministers that was at our church, and he started coming to his name is Homer. He started coming to our church with his brother, and I was like, oh, who is this? So I was telling all my little friends around me, I like this guy, blah, blah, blah. I also told my grandmother. I call my grandparents mom and dad, so when I say mom and dad, I'm referring to my grandparents. I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I really like him. And this is like the best, I'm always gonna like share this testimony, just how awesome God works. Like, she's like, pray about it, and if the Lord wants you to be in his life, you know, he'll make it work. So me, as a little 14, 15-year-old, I think I was 15. I was like newly 15. I started praying. I put my little worship music on at night and would kneel down and pray and pray and pray. It'd be like an hour. Like, who does this as a teen, first of all? Especially with the craziness that I had went through a couple years before. I was like, okay, Lord, if you guys hear a motorcycle, it's our neighbor. He thinks now that it's in the 40s that it's just motorcycle season. But I started praying for a good week straight every night, and that Sunday at the end of the week, Homer had come up to me and was like, hey, I've been thinking about it. You want to go out with me? You want to be my girlfriend? And I was just like, what? Okay. And my mom, she's a Mexican woman. She showed me how to cook. She was like, a way to a man's heart through his stomach. And sure enough, it was, because she taught me how to make enchiladas. And if you guys don't know, I'm half Mexican, half black. So I was raised by my Mexican grandparents, which I only know how to make Mexican food. So she taught me how to make enchiladas, and I made some, had Homer and his brother come over for dinner, and we were dating for like a month and a half, and he asked me to marry him. I am 15, you guys. Remember, 15. And he asked me to marry him. We got married a year later. I was 16, yes. We are happily married. It'll be 25 years this April. So the Lord works. Trust me. Just believe. If you are single and you are praying for someone, or you are waiting for that someone, or you're like, there's nobody out there, pray about it. And what I always tell my son, because my son is 22 and he is single and ready to mingle, And I always tell him, just pray about it, because if it's not happening right now, it's because either the Lord's working in you or needs to work more in you, or you need to allow him to work more in you, or he is working on the person that he has for you. So back to my story. So we were married, got pregnant with our oldest daughter 3 months later. We were on our own. Like, we did a lot of stuff on our own, a lot of learning. We're still learning. We're in our 40s now, still learning. And my husband is a very chill, but I don't know how to explain him. Like, he's very chill. When there's like stressful things, like, he does get anxious and stuff like that, just like any normal person, but he takes it with a grain of salt and it's like, okay. So there goes the motorcycle again. The devil is a lie. Okay, back to my story. So we ended up moving from the town or the city we were in to another city here in Michigan. That motorcycle is ridiculous. My husband started working, all that. We were staying with my mother-in-law for a little bit, just getting on our feet. We're still teens. Like, I'm still a teenager. I was 17, he was 19, almost 20, and we were still going to church. We were still, doing what we needed to do. Started slipping a little bit, but we'd come back. We ended up moving to Texas when my youngest daughter, because in between the time we had our oldest, and then we had our son 2 years later, still, going to church and stuff, involved. When we had our youngest daughter, we ended up moving to Texas because the economy was ridiculous. My youngest daughter was she was probably like a year and a half maybe. I moved to Texas. That's where my husband is originally from, and his family's all there, or was all there, except for his mom and his brother. They're here in Michigan. Or at the time they were here. While we were down there, we went to church a couple times maybe, and then we started like partying, hanging out with cousins and partying. And me growing up in church and being very restricted with a lot of things, I was like, I love this. Like, nobody can tell me nothing. I'm pretty much a grown woman. Like, I'm married, have kids. I can do what I want. And that's where everything was just spiraling. Like, me and my husband were arguing about the dumbest things. Like, there was a moment in time where, we did some stupid things, like, to where we were almost about to like split up. We were just partying, like, just living our best life. You guys are gonna see these air quotes a lot because there's some nonsense in this story or in my testimony, but God is faithful. While we lived in Texas, I don't know how to even explain this. We were in a rollover accident. My oldest daughter came up to Michigan to stay a little bit with my mother-in-law for the summer, I believe it was. And it was me, my husband, my son, and my youngest daughter. We were in their car. I just had that car for 2 weeks, and we were hit and rolled over. We were 10 feet from gas pumps because there was a gas station on the corner. None of us got hurt. We had some scrapes. Here comes the tears. My youngest daughter was Houdini when it came to car seats. So she would always get out, like always. Crazy. She was 2 years old, a little bit over 2. She would get out. So when we rolled over, we were all dangling, and I just see her crawling all over the glass. We had a sunroof of the car that we had, and you know, thank God she didn't fly out. My husband's side was the side that got hit. My son was also on that side in the back. The car was we don't know how, but my husband's arm was underneath the car, like so he could see his hand like in the window, and people were just looking. So he's like screaming, you know, lift the car. He's like scrambling, trying to get out. I look back, my son's just dangling from his car, from the seat belt. And you know, people got us out, but for some reason I didn't see my husband. I'm like, where the heck is he? Finally, I see people lifting the car so his arm could be released. No bones were broken. He had some scrapes. I had some scrapes, little bit of scrapes, just because of the crawling out of the glass and stuff. Nothing happened to my daughter, thank God. My son just had a little bruise and had a, you know, scrape or something. But thank the Lord, nothing happened to us. And I believe in my heart that that was a wake-up call from the Lord, like, get yourselves together. I saved you. But we were dumb. We went back to partying. So it's just crazy. We ended up moving back to Michigan like a year and a half later, I believe, and doing the most. Like, when I've shared my testimony, I've always said me and my husband did everything except kill someone. Like, just so dumb. Like, we did the dumbest things. Like, you know, I can't speak for my husband. He has his own testimony. But as for me, like, I did some stupid things. And I give all honor and glory to God, because he loves me so much that he's just like, I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to hope you wake up. I'm going to give you another chance. I hope you wake up. And it wasn't until my husband lost his job. He ended up going to medical assistant school. He got a certificate. I went to hair school, got my license. That we were like, we can't make it. Like, we can't make it here. Michigan, like, the economy was still bad. And so we moved back to Texas. Thank God for my husband's grandmother. She invited us to church, and I started going. My husband was still kind of hesitant, like, I don't need to go, like, it's not the time for me. But I seen that my kids were growing and they needed structure. They needed some kind of balance in their life. And the one thing I knew, by being instilled in me at a young age, is we need the Lord. And so started going to church by myself with the kids. One Sunday I remember going to church, and the Lord just used our pastors. We had 2 pastors at the time. We used our pastors to preach the word, and I couldn't even tell you what it's about. It's been so long, but I just remember the feeling, like, every chain that I had placed on myself, every lie that the devil had, you know, fed to me, was just gone and broken. And I went home, told my husband about it, and he broke down too, and said that when he was in the shower, the Lord spoke to him and says, I'm still here. Isn't God good? Like, he works in mysterious ways, and we will never be able to explain what he does, but he does what he does, and he does it because he loves us. And so from then on, we started going back to church, all of us as a family. Of course we struggled because we were just partying for a good 7 years straight, probably 6 years, and doing ridiculous things. And I feel bad because I was thinking about it the other day, and I feel like through me, I dragged down a lot of friends, and people that I knew were good people. But I pray for their salvation again, and I pray that the Lord work in them like he works in me. So we were in church for almost a year, and my husband became a deacon, and then we became youth pastors, and then my husband became the minister, and was preaching. So from partying to preaching it's all the Lord. Like, I can't even explain it. I don't know if I want to stop it here, but I think I might and do a part 2. Just know that God is faithful. When we lay everything at his feet and trust in him and believe that he can do what he can do and what he's always done from the beginning, he works for us. He works for the good of those who love him. And I am here as a witness and as someone that has pushed the Lord aside, but he still loved me enough to save me and to forgive my sins and toss them into the deepest part of the ocean and forgot about them. Because that's what he did when he died on the cross for us. He died to save us. And if that is us falling short of, the glory of God, like, and him picking us up and dusting us off and saying, you are my child, I love you, just keep it going, trust me, have faith in me, and all's gonna be good. Like, it's just so much to be grateful for. And all those songs that I mentioned in my Bible book tag as being my favorite songs have so much meaning. And yeah, so this video has almost been, or it's gonna be 23 minutes. So I will do a part 2 from the time that my husband started preaching, like 13, 15 years ago, to where we are now. Talk to you later. Bye.